Hey, what's happening? Thanks for tuning into this week's edition of the Horror Debate. I am Jeff Rowdy Jake here, and alongside me, as always, Michael Mandy.
This week we are debating Near Dark from 1987, starring Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton, one of my favorite actors.
Boy, you know, going into this flick, I said, now you got Hendrickson and Paxton. Neither one have been in very good...
Oh, Bill Paxton was... they both were in Aliens.
I know that, and you reminded me of that, and I said, oh yeah, okay, they've each been in one good flick.
Yep, and Bill Paxton also directed. He's proven himself to be a pretty good director.
Frailty.
Yeah, Frailty. Wasn't that a good film?
That was pretty decent.
That's
now,
right.
I do remember that Lance Henriksen, I've seen this guy in like everything under the sun, right? And none of which that I dug all that much. So I'm like, okay. But then you reminded me about Aliens, and I'm like, okay. All right. I fess up on one of them.
Yep.
So what are we dealing with, Mike, here? We've got vampires, right?
Yeah, we got... Basically, it's a Western vampire thing. It's kind of...
And if you would have told me that, it never would have went in my DVD player.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
But Interview with the Vampire came out after.
Right.
This came first, but I think the book Interview with the Vampire came out first.
I believe so.
So probably someone who read that book took it and regurgitated it around, and out came this movie.
Yeah.
I thought when I first saw this, when it first came out, way back when, I thought it was fairly original for a vampire film, because back in the early 80s, we were still having, Christopher Lee and red capes and thick accents.
Right.
And here we've got a bunch of, redneck yee-haws, and there's no reason for them to be vampires. They just start you off in the middle.
Who directed this thing, Mike?
This was directed by Catherine Bigelow.
Any relation to Bam Bam Bigelow by any chance?
I haven't.
Okay, just checking, But anyway, yeah. I mean, this flick started off real slow to me, Mike. I mean, it took a while to build this thing up. It seemed like it took an hour to get the guy from one corner to the other. You know what I mean? I mean, it was a really, really slow build, and I was getting impatient.
It was almost like an art film.
Yeah.
Almost, and I think the score by Tangerine Dream kind of helped, because they do that slow, moody synthesizer. So the action is really just, there's really no... I couldn't hear real drums. It was like the most of the percussion was from the synthesizer.
Did that guy look like Ken Wall?
Okay, I'll give you that.
Like the lead guy, Caleb?
Caleb. Yeah.
Right? Who played that guy?
His name's Adrian Pasdar.
He looked like Ken Wall. I don't know why it came to me, but it's like and I'm not even a huge Ken Wall fan, but something about that guy's face, could have been his brother, And I like the female lead too, the young blonde. She was happening, right?
Her name was Jenny Wright.
Okay.
But so what do you think of it?
Well, I was bored out of my mind probably for about the first hour. This is one of those films that I certainly would have picked up another device and started playing my PSP or something while we were getting past all the boring stuff. The end, the last quarter of the film seemed to pick up some. It wasn't a movie that captured my imagination at all. It was kind of like, I hate to say a baseline vampire film, but pretty darn close. Did have a little bit of originality to it, like I say, especially towards the end.
But in 1987, it was pretty much totally original.
Yeah, right.
There were no castles. There were no.
Well, no, I'm not.
Pitchforks.
Maybe originality wasn't it. Excitement. There was a lack of excitement in this film. Even the actors seemed like they were just kind of going through the motions.
Whenever there was a lot of action, then the camera would slip into slow motion to make sure they milked. Some of the pyro effects were pretty impressive, and I think they wanted to make it slow motion to make sure you really got every inch of it.
Yeah. Now, Bill Paxton, okay?
He was cool.
He did a cool character in this one. He really did.
He was chewing that scenery up, and he was loving it.
He had the attitude issue, which is always good, right?
Lance Henriksen, didn't he look evil?
Yeah, he did. He looked like he was in good shape back then, too.
Yeah.
Good physical shape,
now he's old and creepy, but back then he looked, creepy and dangerous.
Yeah.
There were good points to this film.
There were good points to the film. It's not something that I can't recommend it for most people to sit through. I think people are going to get fidgety on this thing, especially our audience. Are going to get kind of fidgety.
Yeah,
I got fidgety. But like I said, the last quarter seemed to pick up, and it wrapped up pretty nicely. I thought,
and I
thought the burning effects, when they were actually in the sun, was pretty cool.
Well, it was made well. I mean, you didn't feel like cracking jokes every 5 minutes like in other films.
No, because you were asleep. You'd have to wake up to freaking crack jokes. You know what I mean? So,
but you see my point. It was well made. It's just in my opinion, they wanted to make something different than your run-of-the-mill vampire film.
Yeah.
And let's try to elevate it to a little bit higher art.
Yeah.
And it came out to
You
be
know what? They
almost
can
like
take
an
their high
film.
art, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up, dude. I don't know. I can't get into it. You know, like I said, it took for it to pick up with the gunfights and the transfusion was cool. I don't want to give the whole thing away.
What about the bar fight
Transfusion was cool. The bar was okay.
It could have used a little more action.
It took too long.
Yeah.
It took way too long to do what they did, you know?
Yeah.
And that was my complaint this entire film. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, just do something, you know? Have something happen, you know?
I see your point.
Yeah, so, I mean, not a bad film. I'm not going to say it's a bad film, but it's one that you better be sedated to get through.
Yeah.
You know?
It'll
It'll sedate you.
Yeah. It would be fine at like midnight when you're wide awake and don't have any, you know, because it's not.
You're wide awake at midnight.
Yeah, yeah.
You put this on at midnight for me, I'm Zing, dude. That's it. I'm
I
gone.
wake up at midnight.
I'm
You know
gone.
me.
Okay, so you put this in a theater at midnight, and you're gonna hear a lot of snoring. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a bunch of noise and shaky cameras and everything. It's a very subdued, mellow.
Please
film.
give me noise and shaky cameras, dude.
All
I
right.
need some pyro too. I need like
Okay.
all kinds of stuff. Okay, to keep me awake. I
All
can't.
right.
I can't do it.
Yep.
You know, but acting wise, not terrible, and I was shocked. Like I
Yeah,
said,
even Tim Thomerson was in this. I
Yeah.
bet you were blown away by the fact that he actually did pretty good.
well, didn't I say? Didn't
Yeah.
I say? Oh,
Yeah.
this guy. I didn't know his name, but I said, oh, this guy, another guy that
Tim
hasn't been in.
Thomerson from Trancers fame.
Yeah, that hasn't been in a lot of films that I've liked. You know what I mean? Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, TV.
Yeah, or
You know-
bad direct-to-video movies.
Right. So
He's
you
a
know,
cool guy. I just wish he would do something better.
But as a father, he worked,
Yeah,
right?
he worked,
It
yeah.
worked. The kid was cute. The little girl was cute.
Yeah,
that was
she-
something that came up.
his
you know,
little daughter.
that I saw. And you know, where have I seen that boy before?
Which boy?
The young boy
Homer?
vampire. Where have I seen him before?
Joshua John Miller.
I don't want a social security
Yeah.
number. Where have I seen him before?
Probably.
I know I've seen a flick with him in it, and I don't believe it was a horror movie.
Well,
Yeah.
he was in an episode of The Wonder Years. He was in an episode of Growing Pains, 21 Jump Street, Highway to Heaven. He's done a lot of TV, even
I know I've
Halloween
seen that
3.
guy.
He was in Halloween 3.
Maybe
He's
that's
the
where I
witch.
saw him. I knew I had seen him before. That face looked totally familiar to me. Yeah. So and that was bothering me throughout the film. But okay, but let's bottom line this, Mikey.
Yep. What are you giving it?
Okay, 2 stars. I'm telling you why. I already told you why. I'm bored out of my mind for the first part of the movie. Finally starts to pick up a little bit towards the end. Probably worth watching once. Probably won't get watched again by me.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought the acting was cool. It was a very well-made film, but a little bit too much artsy. And, you know, I like Tangerine Dream, but their score, they've got a very mellowing effect on you when you're watching a film that they score. And the fact was this film was already on Prozac to begin
Yes.
with. So it could have picked up. a
And
bit,
think
so
about
yeah.
this, Mikey. Think about this. Look what we got to look forward to now. We got disc 2.
Yeah, we got special
We got the
features.
special disc 2 that can put us to sleep even faster than disc 1.
But no, you know, Lance Henriksen, I thought he was great in the movie. Bill Paxton, I thought he was great in the movie. I even enjoyed seeing Tim Thomerson put in a good performance.
Well, you know, like I said-
you know, I want to give it 3 stars really bad, but I'm gonna bring it to.
Mike,
a
I'm going to throw this microphone at you, give it 3 stars. Dude, this
Yeah.
is not a 3-star film.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I said I wanted
Okay,
to,
okay.
but I couldn't.
All right, well,
But,
fair enough.
You know,
You
but
know,
if you're a Bill Paxton fan, you got to see this movie.
and this is like some of the best stuff I've seen Paxton do. You know,
Yeah.
Frailty was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this was okay as far as I'm concerned with him. I mean, he had an attitude issue, which he does very well.
Oh, he was
you know?
great.
And I love Twister. I love the movie Twister. For whatever odd reason, that movie, I dug it. You know, and I thought he was great in that with Helen Hunt. Mm-hmm. But, you know.
He was even in True Lies. He did good in True Lies.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
2 stars, Mikey.
2 stars. All right, I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. We will talk to you next time at the Horror Debate.